Welcome, everyone, to the Paranormal Pride. I'm your host, Denise Pridemore. And just to give you guys a heads up, apparently I'm pausing when I'm not meaning to. So just be aware that we're having some technical difficulties tonight. So, you know me, you know Ron. Not much to tell you there. Everything's going good here. And we're loving our fall in Florida. The only difference between fall and summer is that it's only 90 degrees.
It feels like 103.
That's about it. We're still in a drought. So for all of you out there that says Florida is the place to be, it is. It is a great place to be. And if you ever want to check it out, give us a call and we'll tell you where to go. It's my favorite part of everything.
Yep.
Telling people where to go.
Swimming on Thanksgiving.
So I would like to welcome our guest, Cheryl Ann Fletcher, to the show. She just gave us the news that she recently got remarried, and I'm so happy to hear that because the groom is such a great guy, and she ended up being very lucky with Mark. And she became a grandma. And I have to tell you, from the bottom of my heart, that's the best thing to be. It's the next best thing to being in somebody's prayers. Guarantee it. So I'd like to welcome Cheryl Ann Fletcher to the show.
Well, hello. Thanks for having me. Hello. Hi.
We're just so happy to have you on here. And this time we get news of so many good things, which is so nice.
Yeah, we have a lot going on. You guys too, huh? You guys get to swim on the beach and after you eat a big lunch at Thanksgiving, and I'm going to go over here and do my treadmill.
So
I don't have a beach.
Just to give you a heads up, we've been doing Thanksgiving dinner on an alternate day and doing shrimp boils for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Wow, that sounds kind of different. And is it good or?
Oh yeah. I do. Well, we haven't done it as much this year. But usually I just go out and get a bunch of fresh corn, a bunch of fresh potatoes, and some good sausage, and throw it all in a pot with some shrimp and some Old Bay seasoning and a little Tony Chachere's, and I'm good.
Well, that sounds really good. You guys should just come back over to Nebraska and maybe hop in my kitchen and teach me how to make that because it sounds really good.
It's so easy. It takes 30 minutes.
You know, after the show, let's talk about that because I wouldn't mind trying that because I know Mark loves, his mom, Betty, loves shrimp. So maybe that would be something I can make for her.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, it's easy. And, when we make it, we feed all of us for us three here and then the grandkids and their parents. Whichever parents here. So we'll do that. And then after that, after we've had the seafood, it's time to go for a walk on the beach. So while you're hitting the treadmill, we're walking on the beach.
And I'll be thinking of you. And you can FaceTime me and you can talk to me from the beach while I'm treadmilling.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm still trying to find the best haunted beach. And I think that out by Fort Pickens is it. So I'll have to find out more information about Fort Pickens. But
we're going to go out there.
Yeah, we are. We're definitely going to go out to Fort Pickens more. It's
Gotta get my
Carl, are we frozen up? Yep.
Yeah.
Now we're back.
Okay. There we're back.
Crystal.
So, hey, Tom. And just for you guys, Ron's mom's not here yet, but she will be soon. So she'll probably have some questions for you. So we got all kinds of things going on. I know, like you said before the show, I always ask you what you got coming up. So why don't we go ahead and start with that part because that'll get us started on talking about all these other things that we have going on. So you want to start with, let me find it. Let me move my mouse. My mouse doesn't want to work. I'm going to add this to the stage. So you got this coming up. 1 in 6 million, your independent film.
Yes. When I moved here to Friend, the first thing I said when we drove past in the ISIS theater, I said, I'm gonna see to it that my movie gets in here to be shown. Well, I was getting my hair done, and the lady I was chatting with, she said, well, it's kind of hard to do that. She said, because since they have new ownership, it's a rare thing if they let anybody do an independent film. And I said, well, they don't know me, so I'll try. Well, later that day, I found out it was through an attorney that I had to go through to be able to discuss it, even getting into the theater, because she would be the one is the contact for the theater, because mainly, even though it's owned by new people, it's all run by volunteers. Nobody is
Mhm.
paid to do this job. They do it because they have the love for the theater. So I went and talked. I walked over across the street and walked right into the attorney's office, and I said, hi, I'm Cheryl Ann Fletcher. I said, I am my independent filmmaker. I said, I've done all this stuff in my life. And I said, I would like the opportunity to present my film in this theater. And she said, oh my gosh. She said, well, let me just get a hold of the new owners and see if they would be interested. And I said, okay. So, we talked, and you know how it is. You can talk about stuff, but you kind of have to sit and play the waiting game. And then you need to chase it. You can't just let it die. So I emailed her about a week ago after that, and I was like, so where are we at with the project? Where are we at as far as me getting in there? And she said, well, the owners, we had a meeting. She said they're going to be getting a hold of you, and they're going to reach out to you and see when is a good time for them to show it, and but you be a part of it and all that. And I said, okay. So I waited a week and a half, and then I get a phone call from the owners and the volunteers. They had a meeting, and they're like, well, we really want to check out your movie. They saw the flyer. I sent that to Shay, and she sent it on to them. They were interested in it. So that was a good thing. At least they had interest. And so I went down there and we talked about it as a group, and they were excited and everything. And I sent them the link to watch it
Mhm.
prior to the movie to make sure they were okay with it, make sure there wasn't anything in it that was going to be too disturbing. And so Christy, one of the volunteers, got back to me. She said, we definitely want to show it. So the good news here is that my whole point of what I'm telling you and telling your audience is that, the one thing about having the drive to do something, you cannot sit back and let it happen or try to make it happen, because if you're not out there pushing it and doing the legwork and doing the communication with people to get what you got going on out there, if you want something to happen, you can't just let it happen. It's not going to happen on its own. So and that's how I've always been, everybody in my family knows that I'm just a go-getter. I just don't sit around and let things go south. Well, then I went down there and talked to them, and they took the movie and they watched it and got back and said, yes, we definitely want to show it in the theater. I said, I would like to have it shown right around Halloween.
Mhm.
And they were like, oh yeah, definitely, because they had already seen it. And I said, great. Okay, so the first night, they gave me the first night of that Halloween week, which was Monday, the 27th. So I'll be going down there at about 6:15 that night, and my cast and crew will be there. We're all going to do pretty much the same thing we did at Joyo Theater in Lincoln.
Mhm.
Just go up on stage, and I will talk a little bit about each character and how this all came about. Kind of give a small synopsis of what drove me to making this in the first place on a $5,000 budget for 24 or 72 hours over a weekend. And, it was just push to shove to make something. I could not go out of this world without, doing that one thing on my bucket list was to make a movie. So
Mhm.
I did it 72 hours. I had a great film person film it all. Mark being the character in it. My son's a character in it. He's the apparition. If anybody ever watches this, he's the apparition in the background. He's the one who's standing in the doorway in that particular scene. He's the one. And then we have Keith Ottisberg, one of my dear friends. And then we have Faith and her Faith, and she's a really good friend of mine. And I picked these characters for the purpose of watching to prove to them that they can do whatever they want to do. So when I wrote part of this script, I only wrote a paragraph per person. And when I read it to them after all the movies all the meetings we'd have, I'd say, okay, I want you to read this paragraph, part of your character, and I would like for you to act out what is in your head at that time you read that paragraph. And they acted it out right after they read the paragraphs. They had that movie completely figured out before we even went to the location to film it. So people say that's unheard of. You know, you don't get just a paragraph to know your character. And then when we say hit it, we're rolling, you take it from this point and show me what you got. And they did. I mean, these kids, well, I call them kids, they did better than I thought they could. Literally, like Keith was freaking off the chain. Mark was off the chain on his part, and you know, just the people that were in it, it fits so good. So when people come to see this in Crete on the 27th, I'm really hoping that you know, there's 185 seats, and the whole primary goal here is to fill the majority up so that there's other entrepreneurs or other filmmakers that can slip in there after me. You know, I'm trying to make it so good that it's going to make others feel good about doing it, I guess. And so that's what's going on with that.
Well, that sounds like going to be a good time in Crete, Nebraska on October 27th.
Yeah.
And hey, Suze.
Hey, Suze.
You're going to be in the.
That's my cousin.
She lives in the area. She's
in Stanton, Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
How far is Crete from Lincoln?
About 18 minutes.
Okay.
There you go. 18 minutes. So for all of you,
I've heard of it, but I didn't know. I couldn't remember exactly where it was.
Well, here's,
you know what?
Here's Lincoln. Let me see if I can do this on the camera. Here's Lincoln. Here's Crete. I'm trying to do it so you can see it. Crete. And then right after that would be our place, Friend. So Friend is 35 minutes west of Lincoln. Crete is 18 minutes west of Lincoln. So
okay.
You know, I think Tim and Andy might like that. I'd
Yeah,
have to let them know.
Far.
We have friends that live near you.
We'll let them know.
Yeah, we'll definitely let them know. In fact, I'll send them the flyer when we get done here, because we're going to see them in a couple weeks at McPike. So it'd be nice to send somebody to you guys that's never met you before. It'd be fun for you.
I would love to meet anybody and everybody that's never been around me before.
See the movie too.
What?
Yeah, I think they'd love to see the movie.
Yeah, they'd want to see the movie too.
They like horror movies, because this is not a movie for kids under 15, right?
Right.
Okay, so keep that in mind, people, if you're listening. Sue says you're about a little over an hour from her.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. So maybe she could come.
We're putting the bug in her ear, see if that's what she wants to do. So that's one thing you got going on, and I give my 2 thumbs up for the movie because it's great.
You can take the grandkids and scare the hell out of them.
Yeah, take anybody out there. Just grab their hand and say, "Hey, we're gonna go support a person who has an independent filmmaking experience. We're gonna go support her because that kind of helps anybody else have that confidence too, you know, to get out there and do whatever they want to do and see it through, because that's what it's about.
Yep. We have another friend that's working on doing some more independent films, and it's hard. I mean,
David.
Yeah. So, you know, you have to support people who are creative, because there's some of us that, although we are creative, we're not that creative. You know, I'm creative on a lot of other things. I'm just not into horror films. I'm not into acting. I'm just I just want to laugh and have a good time. Keeps you young.
Well, my question would be, what did you think of that ending? How it ended?
Honestly, I was a little shocked.
Yeah.
So it makes you think.
Yeah.
And that's what I need. See, I need the psychological part of all of it. You know, because there's movies out there that irritate the life out of me. This is a good movie, really good movie, but the ending was horrible.
Yeah. I remember we talked about
the premise was horrible.
There's movies that we've watched that while the movie's going, she's telling me what's going to happen next.
And I know she does.
And then it happens. I'm like, how the hell do you know that? Because it could have went, you know, all these different directions.
She's gifted. Come on.
But she couldn't do that on this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she didn't know everything.
Let me tell you.
That's why I could tell when it's a pretty good movie.
When I don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
So,
Denise, that's
she tells me what on all your soaps, you know everything.
I know what's exactly going to happen.
Anyway.
I know what's going to happen next every time. The other day I told them, I said, this one's going to die, this one's going to live.
Oh yeah.
Still don't know if the one lived or not.
She said they kill them off and then they bring them back as someone else. I'm like, what?
It's kind of like what's happening in our world today, but we'll get into that later.
You also have. So, I suggest you guys go out there and check it out. How can people get your film if they can't go to the event?
If they cannot go to the event, all they got to do is message me on Facebook. And the film is $15, and all they have to do is message me, and I will send them the link on YouTube, and they can click right on it and watch the whole thing.
Perfect. So there you go. You guys can have a movie night at home, and help an independent filmmaker at the same time.
Right, definitely rising up, because I'll tell you more on that.
So, yeah, and right now you can go and take and pop your popcorn and melt down some candy corns and put it all together, and you're all ready for Halloween.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I'm ready. I'm getting ready, actually. I haven't moving here. I am more geared up to do some decorating in Lincoln. I we just had so much going on around us. It was like I didn't feel like. Well, I felt like this. Well, why should I decorate when they're overly populated with everything they got going on next door and across the street? It's like, but down here, it's nice because everybody's simple about it. They're not overly bearing about it. So this year, I'm actually going to get some stuff, and I'm going to decorate outside my front window, my bay window, and my porch. Yeah.
We have some stuff outside. I just don't know where we're doing Halloween this year. If we're doing it at one house or another house or another house. So
I hear
wherever the kids are is where we'll be.
Where they're going. That's where we'll be.
So, and then you have this other thing going on. Let's see, what date is that? I can't see the date.
It's the 29th.
Okay.
Yep, 29th.
Right after the movie night. History a little here. The Historical Society here, they have a very old building, very haunted. One side of it is a bar, and the other side is like where they serve for like dinner and stuff like that. And toward the back, they also have a kitchen. But then you go through a separate doorway into the Carlo room. And that is where, when you see the picture of me on that poster, That's where that picture was taken, against the brick wall on the Carlos side. But so going to what I'm going to be doing is, I had set out to do a guest speaking event, and I wanted to make sure, because at the end of the year, every year, I try to do a guest speaking event somewhere. And so when I moved down here, because I have history here, because 5 years ago I did Witches Night Out here, and I did a lot of reading for people after they had their witches dance and all that stuff. Well, I got to know some people down here already. And I even said to my friend April, I'm like, I'm going to live here one day. And she said, really? And I said, yeah, I think I'm just going to live here one day. Well, here I am. So I went to the Historical Society, and Carol and Nancy and Marlis, they're good friends to me here. And I talked to them about doing a guest speaking event about, the book, what I do in life and all that stuff, from like 4:35 till about 7 o'clock at night. And it's a guest speaking event, and it's open to the public in this historical building that's totally freaking haunted. I mean, I've already investigated it 5 years ago, and that was enough. Man, the stuff I picked up, like, holy moly. A lot of prostitution, a lot of moving of a lot of liquor, and 2 guys were shot, and I picked that up upstairs in that side, the Carlos side. So all of this cool, rich history, I'm like, I got to have a guest speaking event there, because I know that the society down here, with the people that are kind of hobnobbers, they all love that place. On Sunday afternoon, they go down there from like noon until 3, and they have, the wine and all that stuff, and they have like a meeting and things like that. So I said, well, if I'm going to do a guest speaking event this year, this is where I'm going to go with it. So that's where I'm heading to. The 29th of October is a guest speaking event, and it's going to be in 4 different newspapers. It's going to be broadcasted on radio. I made flyers, and I've been putting them out, and so we're talking from Nebraska right after the movie. So I've got 2 things going on back to back, so I can wind down and call it a year. Because I had 6 events all year, all different gallery reads, different places. And I said, okay, I already said I'm going to be done at the end of October, because after Thanksgiving, I will be writing more in my book that I'm currently writing. So I want to try to get that book finished up by spring, because that's going to have the sequel to what we already filmed. It's going to lead into that. It's going to be part of that in the beginning, but the ending is just.
So you already know what the ending is, but you don't know everything in the middle yet.
Yeah, no. But the movie is going to be called Pleasant Hill with a question mark. Is it really?
Well, there is a Pleasant Hill, Missouri. You can go down there and check it out and see if it really is pleasant.
Well, we have a Pleasant Hill about 6 miles down the road. And one day we were going by there, and I got really sick to my stomach. I said, Mark, we need to go down that road. And we went down that road, and Pleasant Hill is probably 3 blocks big.
Oh, yeah.
And the houses are dilapidated, and it's, my God, I went past this one particular house. I said, Mark, I've got to film here. I got to film in this property. So that's coming up, to get a hold of the owners, which is pretty easy to do in a small town. You just go to City Hall and say, hey, who owned that property? And then you look them up and see if they'll give you a right to do a little filming on their property. So yeah, that's when I went past this sign the first freaking time, I looked at Mark and I grabbed his arm and I'm like, oh my God. And he goes, what's the matter? I said, we got to go down there. And even though it made me sick to my stomach, but what was going on in my head, already creating that film.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, girl. Is it really pleasant?
Yeah. Well, you'll find out.
Oh, I think everybody's going to find out. So, yeah, it's uh maybe sometime I'll drive there and I'll get you on FaceTime and I'll show you what I'm talking about. You're gonna
I'd love
talk
to
a
see,
lot.
I'd love to see it.
You're gonna
So
talk a lot about it, I'm sure.
Did you get a hold of the owners yet?
No, we're doing that this week. I got to go to City
Oh,
Hall. I got to pick
okay.
up some stuff anyway from Mark up there. So, yeah. But I know my
Yeah.
property location, and if not, Mark said, "Oh, but wait,"
well,
he said, "There's another house
what?
north of us that he's like, you ought to really." And then there was another house that my friend Jane was trying to sell, and we went and investigated that house, and oh my God. But I think it got bought because the people bought it for the land more than the house. And the original homestead was there in the 1803. So
Oh,
it was crazy. And Denise, they had a well. They came up with a
oh,
little girl that was missing, and they have a well. And nobody's ever trenched the well. They never found the little girl.
did they continue to use the well after she disappeared?
Nope. They boarded it up, and I said to Jane, I said, I'd buy this property just so I could make that discovery because it's going to take a lot.
Well, the thing is down near Thayer, Missouri, they found some bodies in some wells and crap down there. Not that long ago.
Yeah. They might not have been accidents.
No, those were not accidents. No, that guy was, there was a lot of history on that. Like I said, I believe it was by Thayer. And the only reason it sticks out was because my cousin Crystal used to live there.
Yeah.
And so it sticks in my mind that they were on this property and they were looking and they found bodies and well, and some buried in random places and stuff. And they were all, it sounds like a movie. They were all passing through.
Yeah.
And they were looking for the guy and suddenly they disappeared. So it was a unusual story. I'd say it had to be 7-8 years ago. So
they haven't found the person
story.
yet either to be prosecuted on that. That person is still free.
Oh, it doesn't surprise me. A lot of these things like that, they're hard to prove which actual person that owned the property did it.
Yeah.
And where do they go? I'm always surprised at how people can hide in plain sight.
Right, exactly. Well, the best way to keep a secret is hide your whatever it is in plain sight. Nobody will even notice.
Well, yeah, I was just reading another article about twins that were their mother was killed and the kids were given up for adoption because there was no father around. And the family just found out about the girls being alive 36 years later.
Oh my God. So they're reaching out to them and getting with them and stuff, or what?
Yep. They're trying to meet up to find out more because the aunt is all excited about meeting her nieces because, they were only months old when the mom got killed and nobody knew who they belonged to.
Did they ever find out who killed her?
I don't know. I haven't read that. I didn't read the whole thing at the time, but just hearing about the girls being found alive after 36 years is so heartwarming.
Oh, yeah.
but the family didn't know that they hadn't been kidnapped. They thought that they had died with the mother, or that the mother had done something with them, and nope, they were able
And they
to
would never
confirm that.
find out, they at that rate they thought they probably would never know, and then just boom, all of a sudden, huh?
Yep, it was DNA that was able to do it.
God,
So
that's so cool though, really.
yeah, and you hear about, there's both sides of this, and you're a lot of the things that you talk about are both sides of this. There's this good piece and there's this bad piece, and how do they form together to make one piece?
Right.
So, and like I said, I can't, a lot of the things in movies people think are far-fetched, but again, reality is sometimes a lot more far-fetched than anything we could do in a film.
And something that's interesting, you bring that up, because when we were making this, I said to Mark and to Keith and everybody, I said, what you're going to witness can happen to anybody anytime, and in a peculiar way or extraordinary way that it's just between reality and fantasy. It's kind of a mix, because it is reality and it's like something you would never consider, and then you say to yourself, how the hell could that happen and nobody not know it at all? You know what I mean? And then have that ending like that. It's just like, are you freaking kidding me? Even my own movie made me my skin crawl at the end. I thought, geez, what the hell?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So we are still having technical difficulties. I'm just letting you know that. So anybody out there that's paying attention, so sorry for the technical difficulties. Don't know what's going on. So, but so Cheryl Ann, when it comes right down to it, where does all this creative stuff come from that draws you to making films and writing books and just getting yourself out there? What is the
drive?
What drives you?
Back when I was 9 years old, and this is a true story, my sister Jackie had married a man named Steve, and I was sitting down next to Steve and I was playing with my niece Emily. And I have 4 sisters and 4 brothers at that time. Oh no, 8, sorry. And we were just talking and playing with Emily, and he turned and looked at Jackie, my oldest sister, and he said, Cheryl is going to be the only one out of you 4 that's going to make an incredible life.
Did he mean that in a positive way or a negative way to his wife?
No, 100% good, in a good way.
Okay.
And Jackie just stopped and turned around and looked at me, and I said, like, nothing's in my head. I'm thinking nothing's going on with you yet to make me that incredible. But that came from Steve. And even to this day, I said to Vance, my brother, the only living brother now, I asked him, because I haven't seen Steve probably like in, I don't even know, 35 years. And he got remarried because Jackie and him got divorced. And I said to Vance, I'm like, if there's any way you can get a hold of Steve, because once in a while Vance would see Steve at like estate sales or yard sales, garage things. And I said, if you ever see Steve, would you tell him to call me, or could you at least give him a message that I am saying as of today? I thank him so much, because I will never forget that. Never. That was my inspiration. That was something in the back of my head that I felt like I had to do that. I just had to follow that journey and follow that prophecy, that's what he said. And then knowing that I had that competition with my sisters at that time, I thought, I'm going to prove him right. So my sisters, Joni, Jackie, and Cindy, Jackie did some college, didn't graduate. Joni graduated from a 2-year degree with her art design, geographic designer. And so Cindy didn't graduate from high school. So, and then my brother Vance, he got his GED. Now, Mike, my brother who passed away years ago, he owned his own auto mechanic shop in California. But no one in my family, nobody has done anything comparable to me, because I paved that way, because I said to myself, I'm not only going to make my mom proud, I'm going to make Steve proud, and I'm going to leave a great freaking legacy behind for Robert to show to him, my son, that there's nothing you cannot do with the right mindset, and the support. And you only know you're supporting people is when they come up and tell you that you've done a great job, or they message you, or they call you, or they say things like you and I are together, and you'll say things like that later too. But it just is the people that truly support you and want to be in your life to watch you grow, and you take them with you.
I can see that. I want to say hi to Julie and
My
Karen.
Mom.
Yep.
Hey, Julie. Hey, Mom.
So if any of you guys have any questions at all, please put them in the chat. I will make sure that I'll browbeat Cheryl Ann until she answers them. I'm really good at that. So you guys can do that. You can give me something to browbeat her with. So my next question is, we're going to talk a little bit more about paranormal and stuff like that, because I know that a lot of your bread and butter is paranormal and psychic medium.
Yes, ma'am.
I know that. So when you're talking about the house that you want to use for the next film, so is that the type of location that you find compelling for a paranormal investigation as well?
Yes, ma'am. And
so
that's
what are the
cool.
key?
What are the key elements to that?
Yeah.
Well, okay. So let's pretend like I'm not a psychic, or I'm not intuitive, or no sensitive about me. Even Mark said this when we saw the sign. He just kind of looked at me, and I just kind of looked at him like, And that would be the first element, is something physical that would make your mind start churning, chewing it up a little, and kind of saying, what is that sign? What could that sign really mean? Or what can I make with that sign? You can see that in like any sign, or even a card, or whatever. It's looking at things differently, or in a different perception, right? Your elements are this. And then the weather was crazy, because at the time we saw it, right above us, it was just storming like freaking crazy. And I'm like, something's different with this. And I said to Mark, next Saturday, let's drive this road. So guess what? Here I am on another dirt road, another element. And the feeling driving only 3 miles was my number that follows me, 3 or 33. I'm driving 3 miles. Another element is surrounded with corn. Nebraska's significance.
Oh, I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Was there a cow anywhere nearby too?
No, I was bummed. I'm going to go, cow, oh, cow. I have to call my cows, right?
Okay.
So we turn the corner and we go down this little road, and to our left, here's another deal. All of a sudden, it's like, that house is freaking haunted, Mark. I said, I can see somebody walking around upstairs. So we leave that premise, right? And we go down just a half a block, and you're almost at the end of the town. And here's this house. I drive by and I'm thinking, oh my God. Back when I was young, here's another thing that kind of triggered it, was the front porch had an old couch on it, which reminded me of my home when I was like 10. We had a couch on our porch and we'd hang out with the squirrels and feed the squirrels and all that stuff. And so here's this couch and I'm identifying with that. And then all of a sudden I'm like, what's the address? And it's like, go ahead, just say it.
333.
Yep, 333. And I went, and Mark and I went, well, now I know where I'm going to film. But all the elements, if you're talking earth, rain, fire, and whatever, all the elements in that piece was there. However, the elements that made me feel like this was it, this is what I want to do in this place, was the idea I got sick. I felt very creeped in my body. I felt chills. I couldn't pull myself out of it hardly. When Mark and I drove up, I was like, Mark, we got to go up on the porch. And then he's like, no, we can't because we don't know who owns it. So it was just that draw, or like if somebody was pulling me down the road, with my arm, it's that pull. And I was like, holy shit, this is my next movie. So yeah.
So does Mark feel anything like that
Oh
too?
my God, yes. Do you know it is a proven fact that if you hang out with a psychic for many years or an intuitive, you start opening up too. And Mark's very intuitive. Oh my God. There's times he'll tell me things I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then boom, there it is. But we've been together how many years? 34? So yeah, it does rub off. It does rub off. I think we're frozen.
I have to tell you something.
What?
41 years later, he still can't read my mind. Boy, look at that.
What?
Okay, so I said 41 years later, and he still can't read my mind.
Ron, you're not open. What's the deal?
She hasn't figured it out that I can't.
Are you trying?
She still thinks I can.
Well, yesterday we had a discussion about dinner, but he didn't know I wanted to go to Arby's and I went and cooked dinner.
Oh my God.
I knew he didn't want to go out, but
Yeah.
he didn't know I wanted to go out. So I went and cooked dinner and then told him.
Something.
But again, when somebody doesn't want to go out, they don't want to go out. You don't force it because you're asking for trouble.
Yeah, it's kind of like a man says, well, honey, where do you want to go out to eat at? And you're like, I don't know. And then it's more like, honey, do you want to go to that steakhouse that you really like? Because remember the last time we were there, you really ate that whole 8-ounce steak and you just cleaned your plate. You want to go to that place because you really like it. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, oh yeah, let's do this.
Well, we had just went to a really nice, well, not really nice, but really expensive seafood restaurant the other day.
Yum.
And what was bad is that neither one of us felt the need to get anything expensive. Mm-hmm. We ended up with like fish and chips.
Oh.
But that's what we wanted at the time.
Right.
But like I said, I'm having trouble eating a lot, so I don't need a lot of food right now. So a small thing of fries is probably about all I can eat. Yeah. So it worked out. So
we had plenty of leftovers.
Yeah, we had plenty of leftovers. I had them for lunch yesterday. So
that's okay. That's all right. Shoot, why not?
Hey, with air fryers these days, it's usually better than when you got it the first time.
Exactly. And you wait a day and it's usually better anyway because all those juices and seasonings kind of marry each other and bam, you got better food than you did the night before.
So we're going to go back to talking about some more paranormal stuff because
like
I said, since we're having I was going to say paranormal difficulties, no, but technical difficulties.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that we get the show through before it kicks us off. So, have you ever encountered a spirit or entity that changed your perspective on the paranormal?
Yeah, there might. Yeah, I think so. For our elementary school. Well, how it made me change was and I'm telling you, just for that particular time, it wasn't like a whole change in my whole life, and I'm gonna go this direction instead, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was more on the idea that a lot of those spirits that we dealt with at the Farrar, some of them didn't want to leave. And then there were
Yeah.
people, and then there were the entities that were kind of trying to drive them out or bullying. And, because people think, oh God, shit doesn't happen in the afterlife as it does in Earth. And that's not true.
Sometimes
Um,
it's worse.
it's, yes, ma'am. So, so what had happened was there was this little girl named Jamie, and JD was 100% witness to this whole thing. He was so mad he didn't film it because this little girl came to JD, and I told him she's, near you to your right of your body. He got instantly cold, and then he felt her arms go around him. And then there was a little jerk that was behind her, a little boy that was kind of trying to push her away from JD so he could get the attention. And that kind of changed me a little bit, thinking to myself, look, if people think for 1 minute that things are different when they pass and they become a paranormal situation, because a lot of us do, whether we like it or not, nobody's perfect up there or wherever there is. Nobody's perfect, especially paranormal. So what changed me was, holy shit, they can be just as jerks as they are in the world, to a child. And I was so mad about that because his name was Benjamin. And I yelled at him. I said, I just gave him the one too. I said, you don't mess with Jamie. She's part of us. And she's been part of us before in other paranormal adventures we've had, so don't treat her so mean. And he was just a little jerk. So that kind of changed my perception about paranormal, that you know what, nobody's any different up around in paranormal realm than they are even on Earth. I mean, but I've always said, I've talked about this for 30 plus years, if you die and you're, doing something horrible to somebody and you end up dying, well, when you get over to wherever in your paranormal little realm, well, guess what? You're not going to be changing. That shit's going to go with you. What you're doing at that time when you die, it's going to go with you. So I always encourage people, be the best they can, because you never know when you're going to go. And it's like, do you really want to be hurting somebody or screaming and yelling at somebody and then you die? Because you're going to remember that. And so are they.
Yeah, that's true. So, do you believe that this Benjamin, maybe over time, could become better? And do you think that, I don't want to ask it in a way that it's going to cause controversy, but
Right.
in the afterlife,
Mm-hmm.
do you believe that there's a heaven, and that with heaven means, that you can come back and forth to see those that you love?
Well, let me put it very clear. We're living in hell. If we weren't, we wouldn't have rape, we wouldn't have murder, we wouldn't have all this evil going on in the world right now, and have been for 4 years. We wouldn't have all this. Look, if there was a hell, it couldn't get any worse than this. And then believing in heaven, absolutely, there is a heaven and hell. We're in hell already. Heaven definitely is there. I've seen it. I know it's there, and I gotta tell you that I'm so grateful when I finally go home, because it's not like anybody thinks it is, or have their own perception that it is, or how they read about it, or somebody tells them, oh, it's like this. But when I saw it, I don't know. I said to myself when I came back, it's like, why? Why did I come back to this shit?
Yeah. Well, what did John J. Davis say to
Same
you?
thing.
Yeah, but say what he actually said. I remember he said something very particular about this, that when you come back
Mm-hmm.
to this world, this is the hardest world to be in.
Yeah,
Out of all the different places that you can go when you're reincarnated, when you choose to come here, you're choosing the hardest
one of the toughest.
And you know why that is, in my belief, is that until we become 100% Christ-like, we're going to repeat after repeat after repeat after repeat life. Because in this life, when we are living it, there's so many challenges and so many lessons that we are taught. Do we really actually remain in that lesson and stay in that lesson and not repeat? Because if you're going to keep repeating the shit that God's telling you not to do, or he's giving you signs, like that one guy said, oh, I on top of the roof, and he says, I'm never going to get saved. And God's like, I only sent you 4 boats and you just didn't get in for some reason or another. So in my belief, my own belief is that people come back and are reincarnated until they get it and don't repeat the same mistakes that they did in the life prior. And when people say, oh yeah, I have that deja vu and I remember doing something like that, well, you damn straight you remember it. Because Jesus is coming in and saying, hey, look, remember this little piece? There's a part of that, stay with it because you're going to about to get another lesson on it.
A different chapter, same book, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of what he said.
Mm-hmm. So someday you may want to go listen to that. It was a really good interview that I
there's
couldn't
others
be part
similar
of.
to that. They say pretty much the same thing.
Experiences.
Yeah. I remember back in the day when
you had a near-death experience.
Oh, yeah, definitely I did. Holy cow. You know, that was, well, long story shortened. Strangulation, not expecting strangulation by a dumbwaiter in a motel. Come back. The weirdest part about that is when I had a big lipoma taken out of my back behind my neck on my left shoulder, the doctor said to me that was fatty tissue that had been pushed up. And when that dumbwaiter octagon bar caught me back there, all of that skin and all that tissue was pushed up against my neck. And when I passed away for that short time while being strangulated, yeah, I came back and man, I tell you, when I woke up and I was laying there and Chrissy was screaming her brains out because she saw that all go down, the little girl that was in there with me. And I was bleeding and she ran and got my mom and my mom come running down there, took me to the hospital, and that's when it all began. I, started seeing, hearing and feeling things that, at 11 years old, you think you're nuts, but you can't dare tell anyone because then, people will think you're weird and then they won't be your friend, when you're little. So
I know about the weird kid syndrome.
Yeah.
So I get it. So we're gonna, now that we're to that, do you believe trauma or emotional energy can attract or amplify paranormal activity?
Absolutely. And the reason why I believe in that is because our energy can accelerate that kind of stuff. Like, for an example, when I walk into the room, the traumas that I carry that are about me and my physical self, it's weird because it's like I attract what I am, like traumatized, things of trauma. I'll get more spirits coming through that have been in trauma than I will be in anything else. And they're reaching out for help because we have something in common. So when you walk into that room, like whatever some person has experienced, whether they're psychic or not, they walk in the room, they're going to start, it's going to get amplified no matter what it is that they're attracting.
So
I was gonna say, when you do an investigation, you don't even use any equipment, do you?
Not at all. Not at all. Back
I know you didn't at Malvern when you came out.
back
With
in
us.
2017, I bought all this equipment.
Yeah.
I had a case. Mark was about to have a cow because he's like, Jesus Christ, that's a lot of money on all that stuff. And I said, you know what? I'm not buying it for me. I'm buying it because I want my audience and people that hang out with me and do ghost hunting with me. I want them to have it so they have validation of what I'm saying.
Right.
Because I don't need validation. I don't need any of that. But
that's how I feel.
so I would let everybody use my equipment.
That's what we do. We get, here's the dowsing rods. Here, let me show you how to use them. Here's a mel meter. Here's a ghost meter. Here's whatever, and we took some locals here on a walk through the graveyard. I don't think we really got anything, but
not too much.
But still, it was fun to get out there with them and share the equipment and talk with them.
Yeah.
So that's the big thing, is sharing experiences. And the biggest thing I feel about these events is making friends with people who want to experience the same things, whether it's seeing a ghost or experiencing something paranormal, seeing a UFO or finding Bigfoot. It's all we want to have an experience. And the biggest part of that experience is being together and being friends.
Right. And learning together, educating each other, and no one is what do I want to say? I wanted to say perfectionist, but that's not
expert.
Yes, thank you. That was the word I was trying to find.
Yeah, we all have our own perceptions of what it truly is, and it's a theory. And that's what people need to understand. All paranormal is theory. We cannot prove a damn thing until somebody comes back and tells us what's going on.
Right. You can be out there all day and all night doing your theories, but if don't have an actual experience,
Here we got.
Yeah, we've investigated with some people that have never investigated before, and you get out there and they ask all these great questions that we never would have thought of,
because we're so in tune with what we're doing.
It's like it's all new to them, and the questions just come right out. So
you can see here, Julie said she did die a few years ago, and they worked on her, and where they found me in the ambulance and at the hospital. And a few days later, when I regained consciousness, I was so sore. My entire chest was bruised from CPR. I bet it was, because I know that they have to do that really hard to get your heart, get your heart going and getting you to breathe. So thank God, Julie, that you're still here. So we're glad you're here. We're glad everybody's here. So we've got a couple more minutes here.
I didn't know that about her.
I'm going to ask you one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
This one's kind of important.
Okay.
How important is it for the community and collaboration in this kind of work?
You cannot be legitimate if you don't, because everything that you derive from somebody else, you compile a case and you make it the evidence real. Not that you're making it real, but you're working together as a team. You're working together in this whole thing. And if you don't have collaboration and you don't bring people in to help you discover what you need to discover for the right reasons, not because you're out to do it for fun, then you don't have nothing. You got to have collaboration and support. You got to have it. It's really important.
So what one piece of advice would you give someone who's just wanting to start out in the paranormal?
One piece of advice would be, don't listen to everybody. Go do your own thing. Don't feed into the hype on TV. Go for the real stuff and take equipment if you think you need it. But open up your chakras and try to get some of your own stuff on your own. That's my advice. That's what I did. I didn't listen to anybody. I just went and did it.
Oh, I'm so shocked. You didn't listen to anybody.
No, I didn't have to.
No, you
but
didn't
I'm,
have to.
No.
I'm just telling
So-
people they don't have to listen to anybody. Just go out and do their thing and then collaborate with others and, have a happy ending to it of learning.
Well, and if you go to some of these places that used to be brothels, you might get another happy ending.
I'm telling you what, girly. I
So-
had one ghost grab my area one time at the axe murder house. So,
Oh, not surprising.
like I said, you can die and be doing something and you're still gonna do it. So
Well, then I guess Ron's gonna be grabbing my ass even when I'm dead.
there it
Or
is.
when he's dead.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I know you meant the
I
other.
plan on being alive after he's
I
dead.
was gonna say, what? What are you talking about,
So-
Denise?
But I'd like to thank everyone for getting in the chat room. Where can everybody find Cheryl Ann Fletcher these days?
Well, Facebook. Just look me up on Facebook, message me. They can call me too. My number is 402-217-6334. And am I afraid to give that out? Not at all. I have caller ID.
Okay.
Plus,
So,
I know who's
what-
calling.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. Sometimes when somebody calls me from a 402 area code, I don't know who they are and I don't answer.
Yeah.
There's a big reason I'll have to tell you sometime. So
Okay.
I'd like to thank
oh,
everyone for listening tonight. And please join
One of
us
the old
next
stars.
Monday night at 7 p.m. Central for the Paranormal Pride. And my guest will be Linda Carino. We will be talking about what's going on up there in Canada and what she's doing for this
Beef.
Halloween season and what's about up there and all kinds of stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I think it'll be interesting to find out what's going on with her life. And please keep
She's busy.
all the shows on the Bill of Rights Network, Things Network, and the Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment on your list of stuff to watch and to listen to. And on top of that, check out Dark Realm TV on Roku and Amazon Fire. And you can possibly even see us there along with so much other great programming. So you guys have a great night and we'll see you around. Have a great night.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Mhm. That was fun.
Always.
Well, thank you. Thank